You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, sir.
Jonah Hill.
Oh, my God.
Welcome, sir.
This is.
Give him a moment.
I have to show respect before we
Keep
start
that same
the
energy
interview.
you've been having since you've been here. Go ahead.
Look, no joke.
Well, first, we got to check you.
I'm not going to treat you special at all.
Okay.
You got to spit your gum out.
Thank you. I know. That was disrespectful. It's nicotine gum, man. I'm trying to quit.
Oh, you're trying to quit smoking?
Yeah. Okay, so let me just start.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my favorite show.
Okay.
You should probably say that to all the shows.
No, you just said that when I walked in. I already told you that wasn't true. I
but
don't
the
say
camera
that
didn't
to
hear it.
all the shows. I don't go on like Kevin and Bean. I'm like, yo, this is my favorite show. Like, Big Boy, I grew up in LA. I got to give love to Big Boy. I grew up listening, but I live in New York for the past 6 years, and every morning I listen to the show, and it is a true honor to be here. And it's an honor to be on a show that celebrates hip-hop. For me, doing press, my film, Mid90s, has a lot to do with hip-hop, and we'll talk about it. Mm-hmm. But something for me that over the course of my career is these big studios didn't want mainstream people coming into hip-hop stations. They didn't care, and they didn't want people to come in. Like, they didn't think it was necessary, even though I'd ask. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I think it's really dope that times are changing, because I always wanted to come into only the hip-hop station because that's all I listened to. Mm-hmm. So I'm a huge fan, and like, it is actually really dope to be here. So
well, two things. Number one, Big Boy makes way more money than anybody in this room. I just want to throw that out there.
That is a fact.
'Cause I know that the iHeart's watching.
fine.
I can't help I was born in LA, but I live in New York.
I love Big Boy. That's all I got.
Okay, he's dope.
That's a fact.
And number two, the reason that has changed is because this generation of white men has decided, you know what? I rock with hip-hop and I rock with the culture, so I'm going up to that station. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
You, Ed Sheeran, the Charlie Puths of the world, like y'all throw y'all middle finger to the
no
to the
disrespect to
system.
them, but please don't lump me in here with Ed Sheeran and Charlie Puth. Bro, I'm 34 years old. I grew up listening to Mobb Deep and fucking Tribe Called Quest.
That's
and,
what I'm talking about.
You know, I listen to J. Rue and OC. Like no disrespect to them, but those are young kids. Like I've never listened to a non-rap. Like my first record is like Wild Pitch compilation. Like I don't,
Wild Pitch compilation.
Yeah, I just don't know any different.
Out in
so
LA,
for
you
me,
listen
it's
to all
important
that?
to represent the culture. In my film, Mid90s, no joke, a big reason I made this film. First, so hip-hop, like skateboarding, is always misrepresented in film. Mm-hmm. It's always shown people driving through the hood or popping champagne, some exploitative, dumb stereotype.
Correct.
And for me, it was really important to make an elegant, honest, emotional film that showed hip-hop for what it is for me, which is the emotional backbone of my childhood. So like what Tribe was to me, or like what the Beatles were to my parents, right?
Migos are better than the Beatles, by the way. But that's another argument. Yeah.
Which one wrote Yesterday, the Beatles or Migos? But for me, this movie does that. And it shows hip-hop in like a true, that's how I grew up, that's how my life was framed, that's the lens I saw life through. Same with skateboarding.
It felt very authentic just because I know you're such a big hip-hop head, and I got a chance to see some of the screener, and I heard Big L on there, I heard Tribe Called Quest on there. I'm listening to the music on there, and I'm like, I know he had a great time putting this part
How
together.
did you get into that, though?
An excellent
how?
selection using Tears in the trailer.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
Tears
you.
from Wu-Tang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Growing up, I used to think that was the wackest song on the album, but now as you get older, you're like, I love this record.
You realize how emotional that song is when you get older, but when you're young, you just like skip straight to Cream, bro.
Exactly.
But you gotta
Press skip right to Cream, bro.
But you gotta explain, how did you get into hip hop, especially being from the West Coast? Like the screener and the music that you've been talking about. You've been talking about Mobb Deep, Big L, Tribe Called Quest.
Heavy
New York.
My brother, he passed away. May he rest in peace. He was a big hip hop head. And he was 6 years older than me. Mm-hmm. So I would like sneak into his room and like listen to all the CDs. So like before Farside, before 93 till before Souls of Mischief, there wasn't good like arty West Coast hip hop. It was just gangster rap. So if you were a true like hip hop head, like my older brother, you were East Coast. You dressed like you were from the East Coast. You listened to like Grand Poobah and like Dottie X. Like you weren't like repping the West Coast as hard because we weren't gangsters. Like you couldn't
NWA Death Row era maybe.
Yeah, like I couldn't like I'm not gonna wear a puffer Raiders jacket and like front like that just wasn't cool, And so Tribe, Q-Tip's one of my best friends, and like he was one of the first people to see this movie. Him and Frank Ocean and my sister saw the first cut. And it was important to me, just as skateboarding, to show the legends and be like, I made this not from a place of authority, but from a place of deep admiration and respect for giving me music that changed my life, you know? So before like all the art, like hieroglyphics and all that stuff, you know, East Coast was the only thing you would listen to, you know, because we didn't have, it was only gangster rap and we weren't gangsters. So it's like, that
wasn't set, Jonah?
No. No. I mean, like through skateboarding, it definitely burst me out of, like, part of what the movie's about is you find this tribe of people, right? Just like through hip hop, you would find this tribe of people where it's like a family outside of your home. And that's what it's about. This lonely kid finds these skateboarders and he connects with them because it's like, it's a time in your life when you're 12, 13, your friends are more important than your family. It's like...
Your friends are your family.
They are your family and the family you build. And that's what this is. So it's like, even if you don't care about skating, it's about a kid working his way up through the animal kingdom. And he's this little kid. And what's amazing about it is, with skating, with hip hop, so skating burst me out of my bubble. So I had friends from like, you know, I ran with like mostly like Hispanic dudes from like East LA when East LA wasn't like a hipster place to live now. You know what I mean? And so thank God for skateboarding because it burst me out of a bubble that everyone should be burst out of. You know what I mean?
How did you feel when all these hip-hop artists started co-opting skateboard culture?
I don't, you know, Nikel Smith, who's in our film, he plays Ray and he's unbelievable. He's on Supreme and I'm rocking his Adidas right now. Shout out to Nikel.
Put him up there. Let us see.
Shout out to Nikel. I got some knock ones on.
Okay, all right.
He's gonna
you're very
scrubbing a little
flexible.
bit to get that leg up, Jonah. I just want you to, you're only 34, bro. Like,
bro,
come on.
I'm old.
flexible.
I got bad knees, Charlamagne. I was showing respect. Hey, if I was on some other radio station and someone said, put your leg up, I'd be like, hey, why don't we go outside, bro? I'm not putting my leg up. So, like, just know it's all love and respect. I awkwardly put my leg up on there out of respect for you guys.
Jonah, just next time take the shoe off, hold it in the air. Old school Run DMC. You know what I'm saying? That's all.
What a better idea. Okay, so where is that? So knock. Yeah, you know, like the new generation. Okay, so I'm 34. Our whole generation in the '90s was like, don't try. Trying is lame. Everything's lame. Everyone's lame.
Saying thank you is lame.
Saying, yeah, like in the movie, yeah, like saying thank you is lame. But what's cool about this new generation is some of them, they're more open. You know, like the younger kids are more open. Like Nikel will be like, I love skateboarding. I want people to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Look, I was never a good skateboarder, but I was 100% dedication, 14% skill. But I skated for 6 years. It still changed my life. Like, I'm not a good MC or a good producer. I mean, I kind of made fire beats, but I still had an MPC and was making beats for 6 years. You know, Michael Jordan's not going to be the person to make the great basketball movie. It's some nerd who's obsessed with Michael Jordan who will make the great basketball movie. And for me, skaters can feel however they want. I'm sure it feels weird that their culture is getting culture vultured and stuff like that, you know? But ultimately, let's move on. Like, let's be more open people and let's let people, if people are down for something, let them celebrate it. Who cares?
So there was a moment where Lil Wayne was like the face for like a split second of skateboarding.
But I think it's cool that fucking, I think it's cool that I think it's cool that Lil Wayne, like, to me, just as someone, the skateboarding was like so outsider. It was so not mainstream, right? So that's why I connected to it, because it was just anti. Same with rap. It was like, the way you treated authority was like, fuck you. You know what I mean? And you were a kid and you didn't have to take shit. And it was like amazing. Same with rap. It was like, don't take shit. Like, you're a worthy person. Like, you are your own person. And I love that about skating. I love that about hip hop. And that gave me a lens that I saw life through. And I love that Wayne's skateboarding. Like, I think everything should just be all mixed together, man. Like, let people have fun. Like, life is so hard. If he loves skating, let the man skate. Like, come on.
It feels like you was a rapper, that you had a rap name back in the day. You say MPC, so you made beats. Did you ever rap?
Yeah, of course I did.
What was your rap name?
Do you have real songs that you
This
recorded?
is like an official, this is an exclusive.
Oh boy, what was the rap name?
It was bad. I had a beat. I didn't have a rap. I didn't have an MC name, but I made a lot of beats. And to be honest, at least my sample game was, my digging game was tight.
He was nice.
I was at Fat Beats like all the time. I was, it's really embarrassing.
What is it?
Spindrome.
Spindrome.
Like syndrome, but spin.
It sounds like who the Incredibles gonna fight in the third movie.
It was whack, dude.
Did you sell any beats?
Huh?
Did you sell any beats?
No, but you know what? I interned for I was into backpack rap. So after, like, when hip hop went crazy, like Nelly, all that stuff, I was like, peace out, like mainstream hip hop. And so in LA, there was like this deep, like, backpack scene, like Latyrix, Styles of Beyond, you know, Planet Asia, stuff like that. And so I interned for an indie rap manager. And this is a crazy story. So my manager now, I have two managers, this guy Rick Yorn and Ian Montone, and they're great. And Ian more works in music, and Rick manages like Leonardo DiCaprio, myself, and Barnes. I'm his least successful client. And Ian does mostly music, but I wanted to work with him, and here's why. I interned at an indie hip-hop backpack manager, right? Answering phones, I'm 14, 15, right? Everyone's a jerk to me. Like, everyone's a jerk. Everyone's like, put him on the phone, blah, blah, hey, yeah, you know? And I answer the phone, and this one guy, Ian, was a lawyer at this time. He wasn't even a manager yet. He would always go, how you doing, man? How's it going? You know, like, they treating you all right over there? And it meant so much to me that when I blew up, I was like, he manages like the White Stripes and like people like that. And I was like, I want that dude to work with me.
Wow.
You know?
You can always tell the true character of a person based on how they treat people that can't do nothing for them.
How someone treats someone that they can get something from speaks nothing to their character. It might as well not have even happened.
Right.
It's how you treat people that you don't need anything from.
Right.
And that stuff stays with you your whole life, you know? And someone in the movie is a lot about that. Like, this kid meets this kid, Ray, who's played by Nikhil, who just gives it's his first time ever acting, like this stunning performance. And it's just about that moment where someone just, not in a corny way, because it's always weird when it's in a corny way, when someone genuinely cool takes the time to just be your homie.
Right.
And it's not sweaty and corny and lame. It's just like, that's a cool cat. And even in a subtle way, they just take a moment to like check that you're okay. That stays with you the rest of your life. And that's what this movie captures, in my opinion.
So I love the fact that you keep bringing it back to the movie. That's a professional way to do an interview.
Hey, I'm a big fan, but I'm here to work, baby. I'm a big fan and I'm at work right now, so I'm doing both.
So how did you get to acting? Because you say skateboarding, and you say producer, you say record label. How did you turn and say, you know what, I'm going to leave this music ish alone and start acting?
So I always wanted to be a filmmaker my whole life. Always wanted to be a writer-director. And when I was I wanted to make movies for the culture. Like, now we're at a time where the culture's so big, like skating, hip-hop, the things that I love now can be in a film. Whereas before they'd have to be some shitty little part of a film done poorly. Now it's like, we're here. And you guys are a massive part of bringing that forward, you know? Like, we're here. We're the adults at the party now, you know? So I'm a kid. I go to New York and I want to be a writer and director. And I would write plays. And I was so bad with the actors because they would not do it right. And I didn't have good bedside manner. I'd be like, why the fuck aren't you doing it like I wrote it? You know, like it was bad. And my friend was like, yo, like, he was a good friend. He was like, the actors don't like coming in and reading for your plays because you don't speak to them correctly. And I didn't know how. So I took an acting class to learn how I'd like to be spoken to. And I was so insecure that I got such positive feedback for acting. I went on a 15-year detour because the teachers were like, it was the first time teachers were like, besides writing, were like, wow, you're really good at something. And when you're a kid who wasn't that good at stuff, like that stuff, you know, you take it, you're like, okay, I'll take whatever I can get now. So
you stopped writing just to act?
I would write, but what happened was, I love acting, but I went on this I had this beautiful 15-year career, I got the best film school in the world. You know, if you're on a film set,
damn right, and
you're an actor, if you want it, you have a front row seat at Harvard. You know,
experience is the best teacher.
Literally, I love how you talk about this stuff, because to me, it's so important. If I was like 14 listening to this right now, like, all we get out of it is an education. That's what I feel like. Like, I love the education. Like, when we turn the mics off, I'm going to ask you guys so much about how you got here and why that is. And like, as an actor, you just get a front row seat to it.
I was reading that you would write your own episodes of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
When you were growing up.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to like submit that for an episode? Are they any good? Do you still have them?
My mom has them at home for sure. I got to get them from mom's, but like they're probably bad, but I mean, they're like from when I'm 8 to 18, basically. So that's what I would do when I was a kid. So when I was a kid, my parents were like, well, let me just finish this. So I wanted to be a filmmaker. If I look at my heroes, people like Mike Nichols, Barry Levinson, people who started in comedy and became great filmmakers, right? They waited till they had something meaningful for their first film. You only get one chance at your first film.
Right.
I didn't want to walk in here with some bullshit, you know? Like, I wanted to come to you guys and go, I mean, this is what I am. This is my heart. I stand by it. And I waited, and that's Mid90s. Like, that's my heart, you know?
I feel like this film is therapeutic for you because I was reading an article in Vulture, and you said for most of your young adult life, you listened to people telling you that you were fat, gross, and unattractive, but the past 4 years, you realized how much that hurt. Was because you was making the movie and reflecting?
Yeah, because I get to be myself. Like, this feels as me literally coming to the world, like, as myself, you know? I spent my 20s, it had this beautiful career, like I'm fortunate for it, but it was kind of like me in other people's worlds. You know, when you're an actor, you're a color in a painting, right? And I've been a pretty good green for 15 years, but if the director wants to paint purple over it, that's what they're gonna do. So to me, it was like, I need to paint a picture. Like, acting is to be seen and writing is to be heard, you know, and directing is to be heard. And so for me, I did feel like, I was this like fat, funny comedian and people could just like trash me or, you know, like because I was funny or because of that, it's like, I don't have feelings or you could just murder me, you know? And it's like, no, like I'm a really sensitive person and people are sensitive and that shit hurts. And so for me, it's important to tell kids like, yo, like you don't have to take that shit, you know? And for other people being mean, it's like, yeah, it's funny, okay, but like, you're hurting people just the same way you're hurting people if they, you know, for any reason. It's just, why don't we be a little bit nicer? And for me, I'm coming out here with my film. This is my voice. I want to make films for everybody here, for the culture. I want to make films for people our age, our generation. And like, I'm out here and I'm myself and I'm not going to be anybody else.
So did you feel like people were, like you were a joke in Hollywood? Like you'd be around in circles with Leo them and Leo's like, hey, fuck my fat friend.
No. See that, no. What? My friends would never disrespect me. They were fiercely, you know, like, that's what I'm saying though. It's like, no one would do that is a human being that is connected to you. People do it on their computers because they like are pussies. You know what I mean? And they're mad at their own lives. And that's fair. It's fair, you know? We're all angry about something, you know?
So what made you feel that way? What made you feel gross?
Just like article, like it was more like writers, you know? And then if I was doing an interview like this, let's say, I wouldn't have the confidence in myself to speak as confidently as I'm speaking now. I try and make a joke or I try something and they would, I was young. I was like a kid. So I was always talking to people 10 years, 15 years older than me and they're talking down to me. And like, that shit isn't flying with me anymore. Right. You know what I mean? And so I'm proud to be the person that I am. And I think making this film Mid90s, like I made a film that means something to me. And once you realize you can do that, you're unstoppable because this is some shit I was writing in my room. This is my best friend when I'm like angry, sad, lonely. I'm in my room writing Mid90s. And now I'm here on The Breakfast Club talking about my first film as a writer-director because I included so much of the hip-hop that I love in this film.
I swear to God, if I hear that same line on another show, but you just changed the name, I'm giving you dog.
Ellen, now that I'm here, I'm Ellen.
I'm here on Ellen.
That's some bullshit. You can tell when someone's full of shit or when they're not, man. I genuinely.
He has no reason to say that. For me.
I don't care. Yeah, like to me, I respect you guys. Work. Yeah, it is cool, man, because you're usually here promoting some other shit, letting someone say whatever they want, and it's like, no, I wrote this, I directed it, I care about it, it's truthful, and I love it, and like, let's just be nice to each other. It's a way fucking easier way to go through life, you know?
There's some great moments in it, too. I'm sure it's the kind of movie, as I've been watching it, that people will go back and see something different in it every single time. And they had the kids playing a game that we used to play in here, but we don't play it anymore.
What game was that?
Would You Rather?
Yeah.
Remember we used to play Would You Rather in here all the time?
When you meet the kids, it's an aggressive film. So this is a film that plays at Lincoln Center at the New York Film Festival, but also like the Supreme screening. You know, It's like, that's what I was designing to do. So we could all enjoy it, but also like someone who's an old person could like connect with just the emotions of it, right? But it is aggressive. So they walk in,
very aggressive.
The kid walks into the skate shop, And the first thing he overhears, because part of why you get into skating, or if you're at the Fat Beats and you're at the record store, part of it is you want to be in the groove. And you either have that subversive sense of humor or you don't. And so the kid walks in and they're playing a pretty insane game of Would You Rather, and it's the first big like laughs of the movie. It's really fun.
How long did it take you to write this?
3 years, 20 drafts.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
You was being hard on yourself?
Yeah. And to me, it's like writing is everything. You know, writing is, that's the OG shit, because you're like directing, someone else wrote a script. You know, acting, someone else wrote a script and got the sets. Like writing is a white blank sheet of paper,
right?
And it's you versus that. And no one could ever take that away from you, because there was nothing there, and now we're here talking about a film. So for me, it's like, spend the time writing over and over and over, and don't just like, you think you're ready, you're not ready. Like, give it to the homies who are mean. Give it to like the ones who, my friend of mine who wrote 8 Mile read the script and gave me notes, and he goes, I'm just letting you know I give friendship ending notes. And I was like, bring it. You know,
right.
You have to be ready to get murdered, and that's what makes movies good. I don't care if you're like Martin Scorsese or you're the Coen brothers. You show homies that murder you. You know, it's like playing a record for someone and be like, someone has the balls in your crew to go like,
it's trash.
Oh, I live for
dude,
that.
don't really. Well, I mean, Jesus Christ, you're like the king of
it.
you're the king of honesty. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like if Q-Tip makes a record and he plays it for someone and they have to go, yo, dude, like this isn't your best record. You know, that's how all great art gets made. And so you just are hard on yourself, and you don't let yourself get a pass.
How much did the script change from what it was when you originally were working on it to what we see on the screen?
Tremendously, like massively, like 20 drafts, literally 20 drafts, you know?
So was it a whole different movie at first, or was it always the premise?
This was always it. But the way I put it is like a first draft, right? It's all trash, but if there's like a little heartbeat, you like know you should keep going. So it's like anyone's first draft is going to be pretty trash. Like, but if there's that little heartbeat that keeps you there, you're like, oh shit, we got a live one, you know? So it's like, am I going to put 3 years into this?
Is it hard writing about the 90s now because the culture is so different and times are so different and people's sensitivities are so different? It's like the 90s was raw.
Well, the movie's raw.
It's very
I mean,
raw.
the movie, I made a really strong choice that I stand behind, which is these kids speak really homophobic language.
Yes.
They treat women in a disrespectful way and talk about them in a disrespectful way. And I made the choice, and I stand behind it. I'm not celebrating it. I'm telling the truth.
It's a period piece.
I'm not
story,
but
right.
I'm not a moralist, you know? Like, I'm not here to be your dad. Like, I'm not here to tell you how to feel and what to think. I'll show you the truth. And I personally think it sucks. I think it's horrible the way they speak. But like, it's not my job to be the judge. Why are artists all of a sudden like the moral police? Like, you make the decision, you know? I'm showing you how it is. I put it in there as a mirror to show how fucked up it is.
Yes, and it's good to learn from, because you be watching that stuff or listening to old music, and you be like, God damn, we was wild.
All the time.
We was bugging.
Bro,
who were we? We were
Ask me this, I
cavemen.
get nothing but head. I was listening to at Big L the other day, and I was just like, I miss Big L, by the way. But like, you know what I mean? It's like, my job's not to tell you. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a storyteller. Like, I'm not your parent, you know? And I don't think art has that place. Maybe some people want to. That's not me, you know? So to me, it's more effective to show it how fucked up it is.
Right.
You know?
But there's some guy at their computer, this new Jonah Hill Mid90s movie, this movie is so homophobic and misogynistic and problematic.
Well, honestly, it's been amazing because people seem to get it. Like, people get my point. Like, it's pretty obvious. I'm not stupid. Like, I thought this through for years. And I made a choice. And Scott Rudin, my producer, you know, he is a gay man. And he was like, I wrote a scene where they were kind of like, where people were saying the F word and they're kind of like, one kid goes like, you know, maybe we shouldn't be saying this. And I said
What
it to
F
him.
word?
And
That rhymes with maggot.
I know.
Yeah,
I was trying to set
that
back
one.
it off. You know, I was trying to set him up.
And he wrote back to me.
What a friend you are.
He wrote back to me, would you guys have this conversation in 1995? And I was like, hell no. And he's like, then you're lying. You know? He's like, tell the truth and let people see how gross it is.
That's
you know?
real.
And I believe that. Like, I think holding up a mirror is way more powerful than changing history.
Right.
Do you think your younger self could have survived this social media era?
No. I can barely survive it now. You know, the kids, the best part was, I only said it in the 90s because we didn't have phones. So you actually had intimate conversations with your friends about life because you didn't have Instagram to go on your phone. You know, like, I took the kids' phones away when we were shooting. And it was the best because we all fucking talked to each other. You know, like how nice is that? Imagine like you're sitting waiting for the bus or you're going to go skate eating like Subway or some shit and you're like, something comes up in your head about your family life or something. And then you just go, oh, fuck it, I'll go on Instagram. You know, you don't have that conversation any longer. And yo, I'm guilty of it. I try my best. I try to like put restrictions on it. It's like working out. It's like anything. You have good months, you have bad months where you're like bad on your Instagram and shit. But like, it's poison, bro. It's total poison.
It's a verbally abusive relationship that we are choosing to be in every day. Like there's nobody. Cause there's nobody around you that you would allow to curse you out and talk shit to you every day, but you open your phone every day and there's somebody saying something negative to you.
I mean, that's always going to be that way. You know, like I think about people I admire and I'll have friends and colleagues who are like doing the same thing I'm doing, putting themselves out there like that. And I look at their experience. You know, like Bradley Cooper's a friend of mine. He just made A Star Is Born. We were making our first movies at the same time and we're friends. And I had breakfast with him yesterday. And I'm like, from my experience, he's having like the like it's like home run, dude.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And he can even see pieces of like negativity, like you're saying, of someone doing that. And so no one gets a free ride, dude. You know? I'd like people to understand. Fuck it. Like no one's ever gonna understand. But like just try and be nice. Like I'm trying to make a movie to make you guys happy. I'm not trying to be some important person. I want to make stuff because my only joy from life is connection. Either connection with friends or creating, you know? That's it. I love doing it.
But at the same time, I feel like everybody, like there's so many different people from so many different walks of life that just love Jonah Hill movies, period, that you starred in.
That's sick.
This is the first one that we've seen that you've written and directed, but I feel like it's brought so many people together. Like it doesn't matter if you're, you know, somebody that can't even relate to what a Superbad is. It still is a hilarious movie, even if that's not an experience that you've had. Or watching a movie like War Dogs and seeing you do a whole different type of character. Like everybody, I feel like, even if you get some criticism, I feel like overwhelmingly people tend to have liked the choices that you've made.
That's really sweet. And I think I'm not like some victim. Like I'm not out here like trying to be some
Jonah Hill
victim.
Day, damn it.
I've got Jonah Hill Day. I got to make my movie. Like I'm not trying to be like poor me at all. For real. Like I have a dope life. Like, but I'm just saying everybody has it. And that's in the movie. Literally there's a scene in the movie, the best scene in the movie is with Nicole and Sonny, the two kids, where he's saying you wouldn't trade your shit for anybody else's. You know, so we all look at each other's lives and I go, dude, fucking Angela's got it made. She's beautiful. She's got a great job. She's blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like you go inside anybody and they're fighting a war in their head. You know, you ain't trading places with anybody. You wouldn't trade your shit for their shit. So that's what this movie's about is like you think you have it bad. You think someone else has it better. That's what Instagram is. Instagram is you looking at someone else's life and thinking they got it figured out. Why isn't my shit like that?
Because it's all the highlight reels. They're not showing you the shots they missed.
It's a highlight, 100%. It's a highlight reel, and it's also projection. You know, it's also like, this is how I want you to see me. Let's just keep it real. Everybody's got sadness. Everybody's got heartbreak. Everybody's got joy. Everybody's got anxiety. Everybody's got wonder. It's like we're human beings. Like, no one's just sick all the time. No one's dope all the time. No one's whack all the time. We go moment to moment. And let's like fucking be nice. I'm not trying to be like some preachy dude, but like over the years and through making Mid90s, I was like, yo, I'm an adult now. Like, okay, I'm 34. I'm turning 35. I'm in charge of all these kids. What do I want to show them? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of example? I got that chance in Superbad. I was the young kid getting put on. I'm putting these kids on. What kind of example do I want to give them? Do I want to give them the example of like, I'm a bitter asshole? Or do I want to give them the example of like, yo, if you write your ass off, you can make your own movie, now, you know?
I'm listening to you talk and I'm wondering, did you start the process of losing weight for health reasons or because you wanted to feel more confident or because you was listening to what people were saying about you?
I'm just trying like every other human being, you know? Every day you go put one foot in front of the other. That's it, you know?
I don't know. The way you tried to lift your leg up, I don't know how easy it is for you to put one foot in front of the other.
Honestly, look at what I have right here. The wall.
Oh,
if I
okay.
had more space. Like, all right, bro.
Don't worry
about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to prove to me how flexible you are, Jonah. You made it in Hollywood.
What are you listening to musically now? Because all the groups that you mentioned were amazing. What are you listening to musically now?
Now, I got the kids to finally admit that the boom bap era shits on the SoundCloud era. Like I got the young kids to finally admit it. I was like, yo, your music's trash. Your music's trash. Like the kids from Mid90s, like because they're like 11 to 23, so they're all day they're listening to SoundCloud shit. And I get with it, like there's music I like from that world, but I mean, obviously I listen to the golden era. Right. Like, DJ Premier is my god, Q-Tip's my god, like Gangstar, Mobb Deep, RZA.
You see they're doing a Wu-Tang,
Prince Paul,
a Wu-Tang series.
Pete Rock.
Who's your top 5?
Top 5 dead or alive?
Yes.
I can't go in order.
No.
Because that would take me I would want to think for a month.
Just 5.
Just 5
No order.
Big L's on there.
I can tell that, yeah.
I love Big L.
Mm-hmm.
Tribe.
Let him answer.
Tribe. Can I put Tip and Fife as one? Like Tribe is one?
You can put them together.
Okay, so Big L, Tribe, Mobb Deep, Gangstar. Hold on. Hold on.
You're not going to say Wu-Tang?
I need 6. Wu-Tang. And because there's someone I'm leaving out that's really important to me.
Oh, clearly they're not.
Oh, J-Roo. I love J-Roo.
The Damager?
Yeah.
Wow. So you was really big on Premier, and you listen to
anything he makes. I fuck with. And I'm happy for him and Royce's success. I like stories like that, like their band and Run the Jewels, people blowing up later in life. Because we all get older, bro. It's we ain't gonna be 20. We're not 20 anymore. And it's nice to see someone that makes good art blow up.
Right.
That's sick,
What lessons did you give the young kids in your movie about loving themselves at a younger age?
These are kids. These are not actors. I found these kids. A lot of them are from, Nikel's from Compton. These kids are from all over LA, and they're not just some privileged kids, and they've never been empowered to be artists. They're skaters. People are get the fuck out of my, stop skating out front of my house or whatever. So I was to me, the important message was to say I'm empowering you as an artist. I want to bring out what you want to say as an artist and how you want to be, and just make them feel safe that and by the end it was so beautiful. They were they took acting really seriously. They're not playing themselves. They're playing these parts. They didn't improvise. I thought they were going to improvise and they didn't because they wanted to be great actors. So there was a scene, for example, the only thing that we wrote in, I wrote with Nikel and Olin. There's a scene, we were shooting at a taco stand and Nikel's talking to me about what it's like to be a black skateboarder, right? And he's saying, people are fucked up to me because I'm a skateboarder, but then it's extra because I'm black, right? And I thought about that and I felt so bad for my friend. I was that's fucked that my friend has to go feel that way on a daily basis. So I go to sleep and I wake up in the middle of the night and we're shooting a scene the next day there's a scene we're shooting where everyone's talking about race and they're playing a game about stereotypes. And it's this scene that I love and there's a Tribe song playing and it's one of my favorite scenes. But I was you know what? I want my friend to be able to say his experience in this film and for this film to hold that without me, but it's not my story. So I was to my first idea, I was let's take a break for an hour. And me and Nikel and Olin went outside and they wrote what they wanted to say about their experience and I helped them shape it and put it into the film. And now it's in the film and Nikel gets to talk about his experience. That's not my experience, but he gets to say that to the world. And that's the empowerment I mean. You can write it, we'll put it in the movie, bro. Right. And that's sick to me. And my favorite scene is with the kids and a homeless guy, which I had Del the Funky Homo Sapien play the homeless guy in the movie. That's my favorite scene in the movie because when you're a skater, you're out there in the streets. You're you're not, there's all kinds of people and homeless people, right? And at that time, skating wasn't mainstream, so people, it's like rap. It wasn't societally cool to be a rapper in 1994. For us it was, but society shit on it. So it's they shit on skateboarders. So skateboarders don't shit on homeless people. You know what I mean? And homeless people are the ultimate people that society shuns, right? So these kids have this just a nice human conversation with this homeless guy. And it's my favorite scene in the whole movie because it's they have the respect to treat people like human beings because they know what it's like to be treated not like human beings.
Dope.
And that shit makes me happy to put that in a film and then have fucking Far Side play. It's that's what I've wanted to see. I just made what I've wanted to see my whole life.
It feels like you just love the directing and writing so much. This is it for you more than being in front of the camera.
Whatever speaks to me. You guys write a movie and the part's great, I'll act in it. If my goal is just to like make stuff that actually means something. Gotcha. And not to be corny. Like I'm the biggest caller out of corniness. But I'm really trying to think about if I was 14, I was listening to The Breakfast Club right now, what would actually inspire me to get off my ass and start writing something? It's a story like mine, you know? Because like you can make shit happen, you know? If you hustle, you really can make shit happen.
My final question for you, as a white man who loves the culture of hip hop so much, how do you use your privilege to combat prejudice that we experience on a social level?
That's a really good question. And mostly, I need to be better. You know what I mean? Like, I do my best in the film. You know, my film, I could have, most of those, two of the leads in my movie are African-American, non-actors. One's Hispanic and one's white. Two are white, you know? So for me, this movie was a representation of like my multicultural life of skateboarding. But I need to do better. You know, what can I do? Like for real, like I want to know what I can do to check my privilege and help people out. You know what I mean? Like, one of our producers is Mikey Alford, a young African-American dude. He's 23. He's a co-producer of the movie. I didn't want it to be like a bunch of white people making a movie about all these cultures, you know? But, I'm not fucking saying, like, tell me for real, like, what is a good way for me to be of service as opposed to just being a privileged dude?
One way is through your art, like you're doing. If you say you're hiring people of these cultures you're talking about to be in these rooms.
Representation matters so much.
Yeah, because one of the problems to me is like you have all of these culturally clueless people in these boardrooms talking about things they have no idea about.
But I guess that's me, but because I'm white, I need to be more inclusive in general. But I mean, a lot of my colleagues are African American, you know, it's like, but and women and Hispanic, but.
And just calling bullshit out when you see it. Like, you know,
that's always.
When you see some bullshit go on in society, call it out.
And drop some of that Spindrome fire.
Oh, hell yeah. Some of that heat. No, but for me, for real, it's like, even that's what I was saying. Like when I was young, right? I'm in these big comedies and I'm put there, right? I'm put in this box, right? And you're in a boardroom and it's all these whack ass, like 50-year-old white people basically. And they're like, how do we sell 21 Jump Street? And then like, you go to like mainstream white radio, and I'm like, why aren't I on Big Boy? Why aren't I on, it's like, it is fucked up, you know? And I've been in those corporate boardrooms. I have a reverse career. I started at Sony for like 10 years, and now I'm at A24. So it's like, I have the reverse where it's like all inclusive, all about making shit better. But I'm a fucking white, straight dude. I get it. Like, I get it. Like, I've been handed shit just based on that.
Yeah.
Right? And so I want to be of service and I want to be the best I can be. And anyone who wants to help me do that, I'm all ears, bro.
Take help from everyone except for Kanye.
There you go.
Anything Kanye tells you to do right now, get a second
Say
opinion.
no. Yeah, say no. Yo, I love his music. Don't know what the fuck is going on right now. You know?
Nobody does. Well, tell them about the movie one time because they saying you got to go.
Well,
no, I'm not going anywhere, bro. What are you talking about?
All right. What was the butt you were about?
As long as you guys want me here, like I'm not leaving. Like this is what I've been like for real. This is so sick to me, man. To talk about hip hop music, to talk about like I literally feel like I do watch you guys every day. It's like weird. I had the same feeling when I did like Stern.
Yeah.
You know, where you're like seeing you guys is surreal and like gives me like a really nice feeling. You know.
This is so flattering.
But it's legit.
So
like
if you ain't going nowhere. Go back to Kanye.
Yeah,
okay.
What do you think about Kanye?
That's my line.
Listening to his music.
That's my line.
Feeling him.
I love his music. I don't know what the fuck this is about. That's like as clear as I can say it. I like had to come up with a sentence because I love his music. I don't know what's going on. That's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Nobody does.
There's no explanation.
What do you guys think?
Same thing. Love his music. I love his sneakers. I love his clothes, but I just don't know what's in his mind.
Well, you know, we're in a world right now, that's what we're saying is like art versus artist, right? This is like a huge topic, right? If you're an artist, are you a moralist, right? So can he make great art and have political views that we all hate? Like it's personal to everybody.
It's hard when your music was rooted in such strong political views for the black and brown community. He was such an advocate for the black and brown community for years.
Right.
So to literally, go right when everybody else is on the left is weird.
What do you think that is? Like, why do you think he's doing it?
I think it's the same thing that we loved him for, like
being punk, like anti. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think now he doesn't want to backpedal because he's made such. You know how you got yourself in.
Yo,
so
how
deep,
bad is that when you like start telling a story you know is whack and you're like,
keep going.
oh no, you're like, I gotta finish and this is horrible. I feel like that's it. You're right.
I
It's
do
like,
feel like that's part of it, and I feel like he's so removed from what we go through on an everyday life. Like his life is just. I don't know what Kanye does. He doesn't do the same things that we do every day.
And I don't have a problem.
It doesn't affect him.
Yeah, he's in. Yeah. I mean, I don't get it because it's not my life, but I can understand it. You know.
And I don't have a problem with him engaging with Donald Trump, but you know, when you're in the Oval Office, be on your feet. Don't be on your knees. Like, don't suck his dick. You know what I'm saying? Like real bootlicking.
I honestly can't watch it because it upsets me. I didn't watch this stuff because that's my dude. Like, I grew up.
Who, Trump or Kanye?
Fuck not Trump, bro. Are you kidding me? Ew, no way, bro. That's canceled for sure. But like, you know, I'm 34. When fucking Kanye came out, that's our generation's dude.
Right.
It's my Michael Jackson. It's like literally that important. So it is kind of hard to watch this shit. It is hard to watch this shit because, you know, I love his music.
Gotcha.
He's expressed love for you too, if I'm not mistaken. Like
we've like almost worked together a bunch of times throughout the years, but this shit I can't get with. That's it. Simple as that, you know? Like, have love for the dude, love his music, but this shit I can't get with.
What about Yeezys? Can you wear Yeezys or does that matter?
I can't talk about it yet.
I know you're Adidas dude.
I can't talk about it
That's what
yet.
I was trying to get.
But let's just say Jonah 1's coming soon.
Nice.
For the creators.
I saw you post something on the gram. Those are some Adidas sneakers or something.
If you see me pull up with the 3 stripes.
Everyone's
Everyone's like commenting like checks over stripes. You know what I mean? Like,
he
bro.
put his leg on the table to show us his Adidas.
I awkwardly put my leg on.
Awkward.
Was it ever hard to get people to take you serious as an actor after doing so many comedic roles?
Of course. Yo, let me tell you something, man. I think you go through this a lot too because I watch your evolution right now. You know what I mean? Like I clock it. I clock everybody, what everybody's doing. Everyone's playing chess. I see what you're doing. It's amazing, right?
Thank you, sir.
I love it. I fucking love it. I'm a big fan, for real. And like people, the best thing anyone ever said to me is that true confidence is living in uncertainty. And that's my biggest struggle, and I think it's everybody's biggest struggle. If you get married, I want to be married forever. It's perfect.
Right.
I take a job. I'm never going to get fired. You know, you just want certainty, right? So no one gives a shit about us. Like, we think people give a shit about us, but they don't. They got their own lives going on. So they see me in Superbad, and they're like, they put me in this box. And it's like, that's what this is. All right, go on to the next thing in my life. You know what I mean? And if I'm different than what they think, that's uncertainty. And that's weird to people. And they're like, they don't know how to deal with it because they're only giving it a second of attention, but they're like, that's the funny guy from Superbad. So if I'm like, yo, no, I'm like, I'm other things too. It's like, no, dude, just stay in that thing. It's safer for me. It's easier for me, you know? And then I'm like, no, I want to be a filmmaker. That's what I want. It's like, no, dude, just like, you're an actor. Just like stay over there. Like, you know, it's like people don't like change.
You're not allowed to grow or evolve. Right.
Bro, we're human.
Yeah.
Like we only are today. You know, we're not yesterday and we're not tomorrow. We're only today. This is the person I am. Mid-90s is what I made, you know? So it's like, it was, I would say frustrating, but like frustrating, it's called an uptown problem, bro. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's an uptown problem. It's a privilege problem. It's a champagne problem. You never heard that? Yeah, it's uptown a champagne problem. It's uptown problem. Like, but for me, it's like, I'm not what you think I am. I'm me.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you who I am.
You're also a sex symbol now. I see people
Angela.
posting.
Wow, you just shot your shot out of nowhere.
She's trying to
Wow.
Look,
I have the biggest crush on you. I have a girl, though. I have a girl.
They post Jonah Hill and his fashion,
Shouts.
and they post what you're wearing all the time, and they're like, "Look at Jonah Hill."
The fashion stuff is dope, man.
Yeah.
Like it comes from the culture. Like, I remember being a kid and going to Supreme in like '94. My grandpa lived in New York, and when my brother and I would get off the plane, we'd go to Supreme. You know what I mean? Like from the
Straight
plane,
off the
because you can
plane.
only get the shirt at Supreme. So to me, it's crazy that Supreme is like on rappers like that. Like you were saying, it's wild to me. We did a screening for Supreme last night because Nikel's on Supreme, and Supreme now is like, it's like I don't even know.
The holy grail for kids.
It's like what's it called? J. Crew. It's like everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like, but it was like, if you had a shirt back to LA, bro, you were lit. Like if you came back from New York with a Supreme box shirt in like 96, you're like 12 and you just roll in. You know when you get that new shirt and you roll in and you're just like waiting for everybody to notice?
Absolutely.
You're just like, ooh, I'm about to get so much love for this shirt. And you're like, they're going to be so jealous. So that's the shit like we all crave. We all wait in line. We all want something special, you know? And when you're sneakerhead, like it wasn't like they didn't have these stores where you could just go get sneakers. You had to go to like Bakersfield because they weren't going to sell out the dope sneakers there. You know, we didn't have internet. It's like it was a scavenger hunt. Right. It was joy. It was like a true, you were in on it if you were in on it. And I think for me to get recognized for fashion, that's just another part of individuality. And don't let you rock.
You never bought anything.
Notice your watch too. That watch is amazing too.
Plain Jane, thank you, bro.
You know, you talk about growth and not being afraid to change. Did you do that on your own? Was it some therapy? Like what got you to this level of confidence?
I'm heavy into therapy. I really want to put that out there because, like, people in the spotlight when I was growing up didn't talk about therapy. Right. And I think it's dope, especially in the African-American community. Nikhil and I talk a lot about how like there's stigma on therapy and mental illness and stuff like that. Like, dude, therapy saved my life. Like if I didn't have someone to talk to about stuff, I don't know where I'd be. And I'm sensitive. I'm a really sensitive dude. So this shit, when someone says something mean, it affects me really deeply.
Right.
I'm not like stone. You know,
I feel like therapy made me more sensitive.
That's good though, man.
Yeah, I feel like I never cared.
Our generation grew up of like, for a man to be like, I don't feel shit. Yeah. I don't, like
had to be hard.
I'm just doing my thing. Yeah. Like it all rolls off me, and that creates a lot of monsters. Like that is part of the problem that's been created. What we're dealing with and reckoning with right now is that because men need to discuss their feelings. They need to like open up because or else you're going to do something crazy. And like, to me, not like I was going to do something crazy, but therapy, writing and directing Mid90s, like it shifted something in my life. Gotcha. You know?
We should be allowed to be vulnerable without being called pussy for it.
Bro, I wrote this magazine that's like really,
A24.
Yeah, we did this zine and I'm really proud of it, but that's the most, it's a companion piece to Mid90s, but like, I interview Premier, Q-Tip, Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth, my favorite artist, Raymond Pettibon, and my sister, all these people about what that snapshot of you is inside that you're fucks you up even 20 years later, you know? And for everybody, it's different, but everybody has one. And so for me, it's like, it freed me to go like, I don't like the way people are treating me. I'm going to be myself. So I'm going to go on The Breakfast Club, dressed how I want, with the movie I want to talk about, being the nice person and sensitive person that I am and treating people with respect and hopefully getting that back, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, my whole new book is about that. It's all about, being mentally healthy, dealing with anxiety, going to therapy, about being vulnerable.
My anxiety is crazy.
All of us are.
Do you have crazy anxiety?
Crazy anxiety. I got irrational anxiety.
What do you do?
Well, now I got like a series of exercises where I just like to be still.
Like working out or like mental exercises?
Mental exercises, and I do work out and stuff like that, but a lot of breathing exercises. But I think the thing that helps me with my anxiety the most is knowing the source of my anxiety. The anxiety that gives me panic attacks is the irrational ones, where I don't know where the fuck it's coming from.
What is it you think? Like, what gives you the most anxiety? Work or family? Or?
I had a panic attack this week because Angela Yee reported a story about human trafficking. Where was that at? In Michigan or somewhere?
Oh, they found 135 kids.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then I looked on my phone and saw somebody talking about some human trafficking in Virginia, and then I started thinking like, shit, my daughter's on the way to school. So my mind just starts racing. Like, what if something happens like that?
It could be anything that
sets
it off.
Yeah.
That's real.
You need to breathe. That's a little too.
Man, shut
Hey,
up.
no, that's real, man. Like I get it.
Your wife takes your daughter to school.
So
I don't have that kind of panic attack. I so relate. Like it's real, dude. And I think back in the day, we'd be on the radio not talking about how you get anxiety sometimes. And I think that's fucking dope. Like I think that's cool for kids to hear because we didn't hear growing up when we were listening to the radio.
Right.
We didn't hear like, yo, I feel that way that person on the radio feels. That makes me feel less alone. That's sick. You know?
You don't have no kids yet?
No, I want kids.
Why are you still wearing condoms?
I want kids, but it's like this movie was like my kid. Gotcha. I had to make it is my best friend. It is my kid. Like, it's like so weird. It's like so weird that we even know what it is, you know? Because it's like, that's my baby. And then like now it's like belongs to the world. But I love kids. I got 2 nephews, 9 and 11. And the kids in the movie are like my little brothers, my kids. I got like, we were just talking on the way here. My little bro, Sam, is about there. He's, Adam Levine and I are like family. Like our dads grew up together and family. And
got a lot of famous friends, bro. Adam Levine, Bradley Cooper, Leonardo DiCaprio.
But what am I gonna do? I work in movies, bro. I don't know. There's some people at my job. It sounds like you're being like lame, but like it's like you being like, yo, I know DJ Envy. You know, it's like we were
Never
at
name
lunch.
Drop Envy. He's not that cool. He's just not that cool.
I know that's gonna do it.
You are cool as fuck,
I'm
bro.
his coolest
You're
friend.
cool as fuck, and you're locked in, bro. Like I like that, man. It's cool. You guys are all like.
So what are you waiting on to have your own kids, though? Don't try to deflect.
Bro. Come on.
This
I
is
love
very-
you. I've heard you do that.
Yeah.
I want kids so bad. Besides being a filmmaker, it taught me like having these kids in the film and having them become artists and like loving them and not, and then after you're like, you feel responsible. Like they call you like with problems and shit. Like it grew my ass up, you know? And I have 2 nephews now that I'm heavy in their lives and that grew my ass up, you know? And it's like, I wasn't ready before. If I had kids before, man, like I wasn't emotionally ready to be a leader.
Gotcha.
And same with directing. Like if I had done it before now, it's not even like I wouldn't have made a bad movie. I would have made a worse movie that was less emotional, but I wouldn't have been a good leader. And that breaks my heart. Like the best thing about our movie is you ask anyone on our set, any person who walked on our set, they were respected and had an amazing time. And that's the environment that you create. And that's as important as the product. That people leave your workspace and go, I felt safe, respected, and loved.
Right.
And these are kids that have never been in a movie. They're scared shitless. I'm like, yo, make these kids feel loved and like appreciated. And so I think now is a time where like I could actually think about like, man, I'd love to be a dad. That'd be so sick.
That's a great lesson to teach kids too, because I always say like when you leave a work environment, the best thing somebody can say about you is he was a pleasure to work with.
Absolutely.
That's how you get so many opportunities later.
Amazing. And as an actor, I've definitely not been that way. You know, if you're in character or something, or the set's got a crazy vibe and it's impossible and it feels unsafe and uncozy and like not respectful. But
So you've been an asshole before?
I wouldn't say I'm an asshole. No, I would say I could get like anxiety attacks and like feel crazy because it's like people are not making you feel safe to be this character, right?
He also told you he was an asshole when he was writing plays and he was yelling at people.
Yo, I'm not kidding. When you're insecure, if you're hurt and insecure, only people who are mean are people that are hurting inside.
Hurt people hurt people.
And it's like a really corny saying, but it's true. It's like I've never said a mean word in my life when I'm happy with myself.
Right.
Like so you got to just feel bad for the other person that they're going through it, you know? But to me, I said to my crew, I said, yo, look, we're here to make art. I would die for this movie. I would rather die than embarrass you. This is my child, my love, and you are all now like part of it. So you're my family. If anyone feels disrespected, you come to me and it's a wrap. Like the second you feel any sort of disrespect, everyone here deserves to be respected first and foremost. And it's easier for me because as an actor, you're just dropped into a situation. As a filmmaker, you hire every person. So I could hire all these amazing people and artists. You know what I mean? Like every person there was like someone over my 15-year career I've like loved the most. So I was like, oh, it's like you build a family. It's so cool.
What was it like for you guys all watching it together for the first time when it was finished?
The first screening was my sister, Beanie Feldstein, who's a sick actress. She was in Lady Bird. Yeah,
Yes.
she's brilliant, man.
I love that movie.
Next year's year, Beanie, like, watch out. I'm glad I can be a director because there's a better version of me that's female that's coming next year.
She did a great job in that movie.
Thank you. She's my best friend. So I wanted to show, the first screening was like my sister, I'm like, yo, come watch the movie. I have a first cut. Come to the editing. We had like a screening room in the editing facility. And she's like, oh my God, I'm coming. Because, you know, we're best friends. She'd hear me talk about it every day. And I'm like, yo, she's like, is anyone else coming? And I'm like, yeah, Q-Tip and Frank Ocean. And she's like, oh, shut up. And then she gets there and it's just the three of them. And they watch the movie and she starts crying after the movie, but she was embarrassed. She didn't want to cry in front of Frank Ocean. So she ran out down the hallway. And that was the first time we showed the movie because I was like, I want Q-Tip. Frank is the taste god. We all know Frank. Frank Ocean is. I'm fortunate enough to spend some time around him. He is the taste god.
Overrated.
I disagree, but I'm also a huge fan of yours. I agree. But like, I think his taste is impeccable. Like, he has great taste. So he keeps it real and he doesn't like shit that sucks. Like, he will be honest. And Q-Tip is one of my closest friends, my brother, and like, it's weird to have a friend that he is my like John Lennon also, you know? So I was like...
Tribe Called Quest definitely bigger than the Beatles, by the way, but continue.
I mean, Tribe Called Quest to me is like bigger than anything, you know? So to me, it's like, I was like, I'm going right in to get torn up. You know, if there's any bullshit, I want it. They're gonna tell me right away.
I really wish you'd have said that about Frank Ocean. That would have been awesome.
What?
I'm going in there to get torn up.
Oh, bro. Come on, bro.
That would have been an awesome.
That's low hanging. That's low hanging. That's low hanging.
Tell them when they can see the movie now. Tell them when the movie comes out.
Now he really has to go.
Yo, first of all, I'm sorry if I talk too much, but it's a joy to be here. It's a joy to be heard by everyone listening. Mid90s comes out October 19th in LA and New York and October 26th everywhere. It is my heart. If you want to see something that means something to me, go check it out.
I would love to see you get with a black creative and make like a black comedy in the vein of the Superbads and get them to the Greeks. 'Cause I just love that style of comedy.
Well, if you see the film, the funniest scene in the film is Gerard. There's this Gerard Carmichael. And to me, I think it's Gerard's best scene in a film, right? Because to me is so dope. He's so on one. He's so ill. Like, I would love to make a project with Gerard. Like, that'd be dope. I directed him in a way that I felt I got the best out of him. And to me, he is a special talent in a way that we could create together. And I like him. I just like him. He's a good dude.
Some hood shit with that style of comedy.
Well, watch the movie, dude. There's a lot of like, there is a like, it is from the perspective of being out there, and a lot of it was like from my friends who were black and Hispanic, how they were treated by black and Hispanic people being skateboarders. Like, there's a line from Gerard to Nickel of like, what? Black people don't skate? Like, surf's up, you know? And it's like...
Somebody said the N-word, and he was like, you know, I don't think you can say that.
Yeah, because Owen... Sheryl Crow looking motherfucker. And a lot of it has to do with like, just like subtle racism, and especially in the 90s in LA, and the mom sees the kids and thinks they're kind of like gang members just because they're different, and it's like, it's a beautiful message at the end. I don't want to give it away, but like, you know, like... Everyone judges fucking people. Right. Everyone does. I don't care. Like, fuck racist people. They're the worst, disgusting people on the planet.
That's
like,
right. Say fuck mayonnaise.
Fuck mayonnaise?
Yeah, say fuck mayonnaise. Just trust me.
Okay, fuck mayonnaise. Whatever.
Yeah. That's his code word for white people.
No, for racist.
For racist people? Yeah, fuck mayonnaise. Like, I mean, you're a disgusting person if you are racist, right? So
you like mayonnaise, like on your bread and sandwiches?
No, man.
Yeah, me neither.
Mustard. Mustard boys for life.
Baby. There
Mustard
you go.
boys for life.
Mustard boys in the building. That's a good drop. I want that drop. Okay, but like, my point is like, fuck that. But you know what? We're all guilty of judgment.
Right.
You know? And anytime I'm judging someone, I'm threatened in some way. If you look down, if I'm like, fuck that dude, that dude's an asshole. It's like, because maybe like he's better looking or something. Like, you know, it's like there's some reason for it. And we all got. I gotta be better. I gotta be better. Everyone's gotta be better. Like, I don't judge race, obviously. I don't judge, you know, sexuality, anything like that. But like, we're all guilty of labeling people based on shit we see right away, as opposed to getting to know people. And I think that's something everyone could do. I need to be better at that, you know?
Well, thank you for spending this time with us,
My
man.
man,
I'm so sad to leave. This is the fucking best, dude.
We love it,
You can come back anytime.
Anytime.
Literally, I live in New York. I might just join the cast of the show if you guys will have me for like once a month.
That's why I asked you in the lobby. I'm like, you live in New York? I thought you was
I live here, bro.
Yeah.
No, I grew up in LA, so shout out to Big Boy and the Baker Boys. I did listen to y'all.
Big Boy.
Dude, but also the Baker Boys don't get enough love. They were ill, dude. They were ill. And K-Day, of course. But I moved to New York like 5 or 6 years ago, and like, this is what I listen to every morning. To me, it's a ritual. When I would go to school in the morning, I would listen to Big Boy or Baker Boys. Like that's how I drove. That's how I started my day. So like, you guys start my day every day. And like, respect and thank you.
Jonah. One day we'll make as much money as Big Boy. I heart.
Yo, if I was in charge of radio, you guys would be paid $1 billion.
There you go.
Hey,
there
you heard
go.
it from Jonah Hill.
I heart.
Well, it's Jonah Hill. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.